pals, it's me. Do you even remember me? Do you remember this face? Do you remember this cat and this blanket in the background? I know it's been forever and a day. I actually, I recorded a video about a month ago and was trying to get back into it, but I just couldn't. So my sister actually surprised me while I was doing my makeup, which was one of like the happiest moments, but I recorded that video and I didn't love it because I was still really sad. I had something terrible happen in my life, and I did write a blog post about it, which you can see on my blog, AmberRaeBeauty.com, if you want to check that out. But basically my mom passed away 3 months ago, and it's been really difficult knowing how to move forward. And in that last video, I was still, I still feel really, really raw, but I was especially raw then, and I don't want to cry on a video. But just know that I do want to keep going with this, and it is a passion of mine. It's something that I love. It's just been really, really, really hard the last few months, you know, figuring out how I want to keep going. So not to be a total bummer, we're gonna move on, but I wanted to make a video today and jump back in because I ordered the Subculture palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I'm sure everybody who is a makeup lover has seen this online. It's a really interesting, unique selection. They say this is a sister to the Modern Renaissance palette, which is a palette I do not personally own. But I was so intrigued by all of the unique and different shades in this palette that I decided to snatch it up. So I did this look for you, and I also give you my thoughts along the way as well as at the end. So if you'd like some more of that, then just be sure to keep watching. Okay, so like I said in the intro, the star of the show is the Subculture palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now, admittedly, I've never owned any eyeshadow palettes from this brand. I'm just gonna take this plastic off the mirror. But this is what the palette looks like. I'm sure a lot of you are already aware of what it looks like, but I'll just give you a little close-up. So the shades are really, really beautiful. They are ranging from, you know, kind of like lighter muted shades all the way through to a pretty dark one. They do have a couple like really shimmery, shiny shades in here. So what I'm gonna do before I jump in is just prime my eyes with the MAC 24-Hour Extend Eye Base, the Prep and Prime, which you guys know is my favorite. I'm also starting this before I put my base on. I don't know how much fallout there is in this palette, and from the reviews I've seen, it does look like it can be a little powdery. So I just wanna make sure that I'm not ruining my base with this eyeshadow palette. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom you guys in a little bit so you can see the eyes better. So to start, I'm going to take this shade Dawn. It's just a really light tan color. I'm gonna take that all over the eyelid just to set that primer down. Ooh, it is extremely powdery. I dipped my brush in a couple of times and a bunch of powder kicked up. So hopefully that means it's highly blendable, like the Kat Von D shadows. Oh, this is actually a lot darker than I thought it would be, so I'm just gonna grab a fluffy blending brush and buff out my edges here. Now, I think it might be my eyeshadow primer, but I feel like it kind of like chunks up in certain areas, specifically in the crease area where I'm doing a lot of blending. I don't know if you guys can see, but like right around there. All right, so now that we have that color laid down, I'm going to go in with this shade called Destiny. It's like an olivey green color, and I'm going to take that on the inner and outer corners to create kind of a halo effect. So I wanna show you guys how much this kicks up. I'm just gonna zoom you out for a sec. So I'm just gonna hit this a couple of times, and it's pretty powdery, but it also looks extremely pigmented. So I'm gonna make sure to tap off my brush, and I will come back in. And I'm just gonna kind of start by patting that on that outside corner, and then taking that big fluffy brush that we started with. But I also feel like as I'm blending it, it's like color shifting. See, it's like that nice green, and then as soon as I start to blend, it gets a little darker. I'm gonna use another brush and get that close to the inner corner. Like I said, I want to create kind of a halo. Maybe I'm gonna take that same kind of flat shader brush and pop that on the outside corner too. Go back in and blend. So I think you guys can see as I've been buffing it, it's gotten darker and kind of turned like brown out here. Interesting. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of this shade called Untamed. It's like a darker green. And I'm just gonna pop that on the very outer edge of the eye. I'm gonna bring that green back. I'm gonna pop that on the inside too, actually. There's a lot of fallout happening, so good thing I did not put down my foundation first. All right, so now that we have that kind of halo idea going on, I'm going to take this shade called Electric, and I'm gonna use my finger and I'm gonna pop that right in the center of the lid here. So this is, it feels a little drier than you would expect for some reason. But the color payoff is really pretty. It looks really nice. So what I'm gonna do now is I am going to grab another brush, this flat shader guy, and I'm just gonna grab a little bit of the shade Edge, which is like a chartreuse color. And I'm gonna use that to kind of diffuse the edges of the glitter and blend it in with the green. And then go back in with my trusty blender brush. See if I can't get all that to kind of melt together. Gonna grab a little bit more of that color Edge. Ooh, so powdery. And just take that kind of in my crease to blend everything out. It's like this really great mustard color. Then I'm gonna go back in with my finger and grab that shade Electric and just go over that center part of my lid. Gonna go a little bit over that inner corner too. I want to see how this looks over a darker shade. So we're kind of abandoning the halo idea, but I think this this color really pops over a darker shade. I'm gonna go back in another time with my blender brush. All right, so now that I have created this look, what I'm going to do is recreate it on the other side, and then I'll be right back. All right, so now that I have that completed on both eyes, I'm just gonna take a makeup wipe and go underneath my eyes and kind of hit the edge of that eyeshadow just to clean it up a little bit. To prime, I'm gonna use this First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Primer. It's really glowy and soft. A little trick I've been doing lately now that it's been really hot to keep my makeup lasting forever is just spritz a little bit of the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray on my skin before my foundation. I did this recently when I worked a wedding, and I think it helped to make everything stay as long as possible. Sticking with the glowy theme for today's foundation, I'm going to use this Infallible Pro Glow by L'Oreal. This is in the shade 203 Nude Beige. I have been going to the beach, so I don't even know if this is dark enough, which is funny because when I'm at my lightest, this is not light enough. So if we have to bronze, we will bronze. For concealer today, I'm going to use two of them, which you definitely don't have to do. I'm just being extra. This is number 25 Medium Maybelline Fit Me, and then this is Tarte Shape Tape in Light. To set that, of course, I'm using the RCMA No Color Powder. That has not changed. So I'm just gonna take a good amount of that underneath the eyes. I still have to do my lower lash line, and given that I know that there's fallout in this palette, I wanna make sure that I'm really well powdered so that if I get any fallout, I can just sweep it away easily. I'm gonna take that powder kind of down the center of the face too. Next, I'm going to tackle brows, and what better product to use than the Anastasia Dip Brown. Mine is in medium brown. I recently got my eyebrows done, so there's not much I need to do to them. I just kind of want to give them a little bit of shape and darken them up a little bit. All right, so to finish up the lower lash line, I think I'm going to take advantage of the more mauve tones in this palette. So I'm going to start with All Star. It's this like kind of cranberry shade. And I'm going to take that really close to the lash line. I'm going to use a little flat shader brush. And I'm going to zoom you in again, actually. Ooh, seeing this color makes me wish that I use this kind of all over my lid. It's so beautiful. And then what I'm going to do is just grab the shade Roxy, which is like kind of a peachy shade, with another brush, and just going to kind of smoke that out. To to finish off the inner corner, I'm going to grab that shade Electric again and just pop that right into the inner corner. This shade does not like brushes. I'm really trying to get it, and I'm getting like the tiniest amount on my brush. I don't know if it prefers a damp brush, but it doesn't really want to cooperate with me here. To finish off this eye, I'm just going to go in with a bunch of coats of this Lash Paradise mascara. And that is the completed eye look. For the rest of the face, we're going to be going in first with this Butter Bronzer. This is the darker shade, just called Bronzer, but it's darker than the other shade that I have because I am a little bit darker now that I've gotten some tan. It still smells the same. So just using a Duo Fiber brush to kind of take that on the cheeks. Because this look is already so colorful, I'm going to skip blush and I'm going to go in with the Anastasia Moonchild highlighter palette. And I'm going to grab the shade Lucky Clover, which has kind of a greenish shift to it. I'm just going to take a tiny bit of that right on that high point of the cheek back here, just to add a little bit of highlight and kind of tie in those greeny shades that we have going on in the eyes. And finally for lips, this was a very tough decision, but I think I'm gonna go in with Pure Heroine. This is the Lord collaboration with MAC. All right, so now the lips are a little bit less in your face, and then finally I'm just going to use some of that same setting spray from earlier. And this is the completed look for the Anastasia Subculture palette. So I guess my first impressions on this palette, I've never owned an Anastasia palette, but it was extremely soft. Anytime I dipped my brush in, there was a lot of powdery kick up. Also this Electric shade, as hard as I tried, it would not really go on a brush. I had to use my finger to get it to apply. To me, they look similar to the Kat Von D shades because those are pretty powdery when you apply them, but they blend like so smoothly. I don't feel like these blended as smoothly as the Kat Von D eyeshadows, and I also feel like the color kind of changed once you started to buff the color out. My brushes are completely clean, so they weren't contaminated with anything else, and I think you saw, like, even with that shade Destiny, that like olivey green shade, that is started to kind of get darker and turn brown. It's a really, really pretty palette, and I've created something extremely unique with it that I actually am absolutely in love with. It just takes a little bit of, I think, maybe practice and a little bit of patience with these eyeshadows, but overall, I think it's a beautiful selection. I can't wait to jump in and try more. I think this is definitely not for the faint of heart. I think you have to kind of love being bold and different and really using a lot of different colors together, which I know I love and is something that I try to do often. So anyways, that is my quick and dirty little review slash first impression on this Subculture palette. I will have more photos and a little bit of chit chat in my blog, which is AmberRaeBeauty.com. If you guys want to head over to Facebook, I'm over there too, AmberRae Beauty, and I'm on Instagram, Beauty by Amber Rae. I will leave all links down below. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.